On this episode of Dear Bros, we got a guy living in his truck,
One.
a guy worried about wearing masks in hot tubs with naked women,
That's specific.
and a dude that doesn't like getting asked questions.
Okay. Very specific. Stay tuned.
Let's get it done.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Tim Fulton.
Andy Smith.
And this is Dear Bros.
Dear Bros.
A little segment where we rip advice column questions for our own personal gain. Andy's up. Andy, what do you dear, bro?
All right, we got three. A little triple action here.
Andy can't pick.
I can't pick. I'm
You can't-
indecisive,
yeah.
and I just want to do them all.
All right.
All
start
right,
with-
so first one is mom worries about grown son living in truck. Okay.
That's fair. That's a
So
concern.
this one was kind of a roller coaster because I read the title, and I was like, that sucks. And then I read the rest of it, and I'm like, I'm on his side.
All right. Well, let's see what his side is.
Dear Abby, my son and daughter-in-law are divorcing after almost 10 years. We love them both, and the divorce is amicable. See, I got that word. They own a home, and my daughter-in-law is staying there. My son is very easygoing and doesn't need the, quote, finer things in life. He has a truck. He built a small camper in the back, and there's a camper shell. We've asked him to move back in with us. He's going to school with about 2 years to go and also works a full-time job. They had a fair amount of savings, but he doesn't want to buy a house right now. He thinks that since he's happy living in his truck, he should do that rather than waste money on an apartment. Rent is very high in our area, so I understand, but we have a finished basement that he could live in. I worry about him sleeping in his truck every night, so that I text him every night with a quick note. Am I being too much of a helicopter mom? I realize he has lived on his own since he was 19. He is now 34. Loving parent in Utah.
All right. You know, I'm going to go ahead and agree with everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that there is really no... I think if dude's living his best life, he wants to live in a fucking camper and off of the back of his truck, go for it.
Yeah.
Save your money. If you're happy doing that, dude, go for it.
Yeah.
You ain't going to get a lot of action that way, but you just got divorced, so we're going to worry about that later.
Dude just got a divorce.
Yeah.
Dude needs to clear his head. Dude is just doing his own thing, trying to figure out what's important. You know how you figure that out? Turn off all the white noise. Or turn on all the white noise. I got that word before. I'm going to give myself a mulligan on this one. So, he's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's still working full-time job. Dude's going to school at 34 trying to get a degree. Kudos for him.
Kudos.
The mom is not being unreasonable at all. She sounds like a cool mom.
She does.
She's like, I'm worried about him, but I don't want to be overbearing. She even says, am I being too much of a helicopter parent by texting him every night? It's not bad to text your kid every night.
No.
Who cares?
Text your son. Text your son.
Yeah, just, hey, you okay in your camper / apartment? That's
Hey,
fine.
You still alive?
Yeah.
You are?
Where
All
are
right,
you
good.
shitting? That'd be my biggest concern. Where are you shitting?
I was curious about that too. I was thinking.
Where are you showering?
Where you
He
sleep?
probably goes to the gym. This sounds like a dude that goes to the gym. And she said she's got a live-in basement, but again, she understands that he doesn't want to live with the parents because he's been alone since he was 19. So she's understandable.
She gets it.
She gets it.
You know what? This is one that everyone gets it. She just wants confirmation that she's doing all right.
Everyone gets it.
Everyone
Even
gets
the divorce is amicable.
Why is everyone so goddamn happy?
I don't know. Now I'm thinking there's something wrong with this.
Who is?
So she's worried about sleeping with the truck. I think the advice to this lady is, number one, no, you're not being a helicopter mom. You're concerned about your son. Number two, as long as he's happy and you don't see any, like, red flags,
Yeah.
then let him do his thing.
As long as he is still showering and he's not showing up to your place reeking.
Yeah, let him figure it
Let
out.
him figure it out.
He can move wherever he wants, and maybe he doesn't know where he wants to live yet, which
Yeah.
is why he doesn't want to buy a house or get stuck into a 6-month lease agreement.
And you know what? If it gets cold out and he decides he does want to move back in, then let him back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good job, everybody.
All right, let's see what
Good
the
job.
actual advice is. You have extended the offer. I assume that when the weather turns cold or needs to shower or do a load of laundry, you have to let him know that he is welcome to avail himself to your hospitality and have a nice dinner anytime he wishes. There are helicopter moms, and then there are hell-I-copter moms. Huh. You are neither. You are a loving, caring mom. Agreed.
What is a hell I copter? Like a mom that's just hell?
I bring hell. Hell-I-copter?
I don't know. Get that. For the reader out there,
Helicopter feel?
it is actually spelled hell-I-copter. If anyone can enlighten me to what that means.
Something in my eyeball. Moving on. This is going to be difficult. Read with one eye. Cyclops.
Yeah, you're
All right.
making an excuse already.
Oh, here we go.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fix yourself there, buddy. I need advice on hot tub etiquette. If I were to invite a nudist lady to soak with me in the hot tub, would it be impolite for me to ask her to wear a mask? What?
So your thoughts on this?
That was... Did he have like a brain fart at the end and write the wrong word?
Yeah.
If you're inviting someone into a hot tub with... All right, there's multiple routes I'm taking on this one.
Okay.
One, if he truly meant mask. If you're inviting someone into a hot tub with you, the mask ain't doing anything anymore, buddy.
No.
It's out the window.
You're inviting a nudist. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the nudist? What are you going to do? Go over term papers and SAT results?
Yeah.
No.
To be fair, nudists don't look at it like that, I think. Leave me alone here, buddy. I'm
You
trying
know a lot of nudists, Tim?
I do.
Yeah?
I do.
Where?
That Family Guy episode.
Oh, okay. Cartoon nudist. Now it makes sense why you said that. I get it.
2, if he had some weird brain fart, or if he's alluring to underwear, I don't think that's inappropriate. Be like, hey, would you mind putting on underwear? I feel like that would be
Like a snatch mask?
Yeah.
So like underwear, a bathing suit bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I don't know if that matters. It's all in the water. It's like, hey, I shit my pants, but I got shorts on. It's like, it's in the water, dude. You're not sitting on a chair away from me. You're in the same water.
Yeah, but maybe it just makes it more comfortable. I wouldn't want those
She's
things
a
flapping
nudist.
about.
She's a nudist.
Yeah.
The definition of nudist is they don't wear clothes.
Yeah, but like,
Now, if she don't have clothes, I doubt she's got a mask. I'm guessing this is in a temperate climate.
New York.
It gets cold in New York.
It gets really cold in New York.
And are you allowed to be nude in New York?
I think there's certain spots you are.
Maybe,
I think there's like requirements.
maybe a colony.
Like you can't just like if you can't just be like walking into a store nude and people be like put on clothes and be like, I'm a nudist.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. So like clearly there are defined rules. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe he's not. Maybe he lives in a condo and she's just naked in her condo all the time and he wants to invite her over to join him in his hot tub and he's like, but I like her, but I want her to wear clothes because I don't want that thing flapping in my face.
He seems to be doing the opposite of what they don't flap. He seems to be doing the opposite of what
They flap.
like a guy would do in this situation. He'd be like, "Hey, I'm dating this chick that like wears a lot of clothes. Is it impolite for me to ask her to not wear so many clothes in the hot tub?" But he's like, "I'm putting back on."
I really want to know if he meant mask or underwear. Because the way it reads, you would expect it to be underwear. I feel like he made a mistake.
The sentence has good structure. I think the periods and the commas are in the right place. The I's are all capitalized. I doubt that he's gonna put a they're not even the same. It's not like he leaned on the keyboard.
There are times when people make mistakes and they think things wrong. You know, have you ever done that where like you're trying to say out a sentence and you look at it and you're just like, I wrote the complete wrong word.
That's
there.
true. But this isn't a 7-page term paper. It's a 2-sentence. No, it's a 2-sentence thing. Maybe he just thought confidence, only 2 sentences. I don't need to proofread it.
If it
Right? I'm going to go ahead and say he says he's thinking it's a mask because of COVID.
All right, if that's really your concern, you sharing a hot tub with someone, that goes out the window.
Yeah.
That
You don't
goes
wear a
out-
mask.
You don't wear a mask.
Okay. I agree.
Follow the CDC.
I think that you need to just stop and think. Just reread that question 10 times, and then just
stop and frisk.
realize you should never have sent it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
dear
what are you
Ray.
doing with your life, buddy?
Dear Ray, thank you for writing. If you are unaware of someone's antibody status, do not invite any stranger to get naked with you unless you're wearing a full body condom, regardless of how tempted you are.
She's basically saying if they're not vaccinated, don't hang out with them, which
But-
I don't agree with.
Where?
Where what?
So
What are
he
you
did
lost
mean
on?
mask.
That's what she took it as.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we have to go off of because that's what he wrote. That's what he wrote. That's all she wrote.
Look at Abby throwing in some zingers.
Full body
Full
condom.
body condom.
I can make that happen, Abby.
All right, and the last one. Friend deflects unwanted questions by lying.
They do that.
Okay. I went to lunch with Anita.
I'm already mad at this person
I know. Why?
because she could have just named her Anne. Had you
Yeah,
go with Anita?
I read that, and I almost said I'm going to call her something else because I don't want to read Anita. Who proceeded to question me about how I know my friend Gail. It seems like an innocent question, but Gail and I met in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Fair.
I didn't tell Anita where we met in AA because that would have destroyed Gail's anonymity. How do you say that word?
Anonymity.
Anonymity?
No.
How do you? I know anonymous, but anonymity. Fuck.
Anonymity. Anonymity.
No, it's not it's not anonymity. I know how to say it, but when I'm looking at it, it doesn't sound like it's being said right.
We're looking. Anonymity.
Now you don't know how to use those symbols.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay, so that pronunciation is never gonna. So, Gail's anonymousness.
Okay. Yeah. Anonymousness. So we met through mutual. We met through mutual friends.
Fair.
I didn't mind the question, but Anita kept probing about mutual friends. Fucking broads. Can't just let anything go. I wound up fibbing and saying folks at my church. It managed to change the direction of the conversation, but I wish people wouldn't pry like that. This also happens when I'm at parties and someone asks me why I'm not drinking. It's easy to respond to the question with a general answer, but a lot of times I encounter folks who keep pushing. I would encourage your readers to be sensitive to these kinds of situations and allow people their privacy. Thanks, Abby. Your thoughts?
Do you want me to start? Do
You
want
go
to start?
ahead.
I'm going to go against this woman a little bit here. I understand her sentiment,
Okay.
but
This reads like a guy wrote it. I thought that, but you might be right. This might be a girl.
I assume girl because she went to lunch with Anita and she has a mutual friend, Gail. They're all girls, so I figured
Fair.
it's a female
It's very
third
fair.
party. So, again,
Just
I'm making this.
projecting myself into this story.
You are projecting yourself in this story. So, people gain deeper relationships with each other through dialogue and through conversation, and it's not unheard of to follow up an answer with an additional question. It would be different if someone was like prying, and like it's clear you're trying to like change the subject. But if someone says, "Oh, mutual friends," and you're like, "Oh, who's the mutual friend?" You can't turn around and be like, "That's none of your business, bitch." Like,
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating for the point of emphasis, but it's a natural thing to follow through. It sucks because you're in a predicament and it forces you to fib and you're not always comfortable with the answers, and you should be able to say, "I'm not comfortable talking about that." And if they're a good friend, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's weird, but okay." And if they're not a good friend, just change the subject. But I get that it sucks, don't get me wrong, but it's just how things work.
I will agree with you on that. I think that for that particular, we would almost have to know exactly how the conversation transpired, because you know when like someone asks you a question, even if it's a good friend, and you might not even just feel like talking about it right then. You might just like, something happened at work. And you're like, what is it? And you're like, nah, nothing. It's like, all right, drop it.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, no, tell me. And you're just like, I don't want to. I don't feel like it right now. It's like, you almost kind of shouldn't have to get to the point where you're like, get off my back.
Yeah.
If they are your friend, and it's weird when you fall into that, like, they're my friend that I go to lunch with, but I'm not like real close to friends with them. So like, there's that, like, you don't have that, like, yeah, like, don't take it personal, but I just don't want to talk about it.
That's fair. I guess context does matter. And I will say the party thing, if you meet someone at a party and they say, oh, I don't drink, or I'm not drinking, do you follow up with something?
No.
I'm trying to think if I do or not. I can't.
I think it's a pretty understood thing, at least on my part, where if someone says they don't want to drink, unless you personally know that person and you know that their background with drinking, and it's like, oh, they don't want to drink because like of whatever, and you're like, oh, come on, dude, have a beer. Unless you know them enough to say that.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the person well enough to know why they're not drinking or why they don't drink, and that, like, if whatever the response is, I think it's better just to on the side of error. Because here's the thing. Why do you need to know that?
That's fair.
You don't need to know anything about why they don't drink. Then you're making it about you. You're making it saying like, well, I need to know why they don't drink, and how, like, me knowing that is more important than them being put in an uncomfortable situation.
That's fair.
Because I know people that don't drink because they have family members that are alcoholics.
Yeah.
I know people that don't drink just because they've never drank. I know people that don't drink because they've had problems with drinking. And it is kind of like, if somebody says like, I don't drink. Okay, like, you can either say it's one of those four, and I should be happy with just making that up in my head and being like, I don't need to know exactly which one.
That's fair.
Because if he wanted to tell me or she wanted to tell me, they would.
So this one time, I just bought a condo that I currently rent out, and a friend of mine came over to celebrate the fact that it was my first property. I wasn't going to be living in there, but we had like a small housewarming between me and one friend, one girlfriend, female friend, I should say. So she brought a bottle of wine, didn't have a bottle opener, so I ran to my neighbor upstairs. It was a condo.
Okay.
Knocked on his door. He answered it. I was like, hey, do you have a bottle of wine? He goes, oh, no, I don't drink. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I felt so. After I left,
Because you immediately thought that he was an alcoholic.
I immediately thought he was an alcoholic.
That's why you apologized.
Yeah. So just throwing that out there. I don't know what that means in relative to the story, but it popped into my head. My answer is not, why don't you drink? My answer is, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. But he does make a good point, or she does make a good point when it comes to when you're asking people certain questions. It does seem to me that when people pry, it's more about them than it is about you. I'm
going to stand firm on the point you made before, but that context matters, right? Because we are human beings. We're inquisitive by nature. It like defines who we are. We want to know things. That's how we manage our world.
Yeah.
So having a knee-jerk reaction and saying why is one thing.
Yes.
Following up and like not letting it go, that's another. And I think that's where like it might be a blurry line, but that's where the blurry line is, where like people won't let something go. Let it go, dude.
Yeah.
It's not your life.
Yeah.
But if you say why, all right, buddy, have a response in your back pocket. Like, it happens.
I've had friends, like, you know, when you have like a group of mutual friends and they're like, oh, like, you know, I asked so-and-so, like, what was going on. Like, they didn't tell me. It's like, why wouldn't they tell me? Like, we've been friends for this. It's like it's about them. They don't realize that.
Yeah.
But they're putting like the weight of them not telling it as like, well, that's how they feel about me. I'm not important enough to tell.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Like, they might have just been in a bad mood. They might not have just been not wanting to talk about that particular thing. It's not about you. But that's a lot of times, that's where the prying comes from. It's like, make me important enough to tell. Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that I'm important enough to you to tell a secret. Just tell me.
That's like a lack of self-awareness, I guess.
It's a self-awareness and self-worth in that friendship.
It's a mix of things. Empathy, and you think you're being empathetic because you want to know what's wrong, but it's really because you want to know what's wrong. It's not because you want to solve anything.
Exactly. And that's like the best way to get people to not say anything is to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You know?
Because that's the last thing they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's see what Ab says.
Let's see what she says. Okay, dear Anonymous. So and you're welcome. There is no shortage of nosy questions that people don't hesitate to ask these days. And as anyone who read this column is aware. However, too many people, membership in AA is a badge of honor. I was started off really good.
You did.
And now I can't read punctuation, and I'm just nosediving off the grammar tree.
Your reading level has decreased.
Diminished.
Like by the minute.
Plummeted.
Hurry before you become too dumb to walk out of here.
Oh, that's another good point.
Oh my God.
Sorry, we're here. That's a good reason for him because she obviously takes AA seriously because it's anonymous, and she did whatever she could to keep that person anonymous. So she had to kind of lie. Yeah. To keep that thing there because that could be a real breach of trust. She's from
anonymous, but she can't talk about other people in anonymous.
Yeah, it's a breach of trust. Yeah. Which is a big thing. When pushed to answer why they're not drinking alcohol, they're upfront about the fact that they're in AA. Of course, one does not have to have a drinking problem to avoid alcohol. Some people refrain because they don't feel well when they drink. Others do it because they are taking antibiotics or want to live a healthier lifestyle. The bottom line is you do not have to answer every question that is asked of you.
So she kind of stood on the fence that we did. She said, good for you. Yes, people are too nosy, but you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah, right down the line.
Right down the line.
Center line. Walking the line.
Switzerland.
I like it.
All right. I got a pee, so I'm going to wrap this up.
I knew there was something. I knew it.
My legs are jingling. All right, guys, let us know what you think about these topics in the comment section down below. Do people ask too many nosy questions? Well, of course they do. But how would you answer them if you were an Alcoholics Anonymous or didn't want to give away any sort of secrets? What do you say to the guy who wants to wear a mask inside of a hot tub, you freak? And I don't even remember. Camper guy. What do you think about Camper guy? Is he sane? Is everything okay there? Is mom overbearing? Oh, we don't think so, but let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to go to brodownpro.com. We're coming out with new stuff all the time. In fact, we have a new line out right now, a new D&D line. Yes, the bros.
Scotty's on fire.
The bros can get a little nerdy. Represent your race. Ooh, that sounded racist.
Ooh, bad choice of words there, bud. Yeah, but no, seriously, represent your race in D&D. Are you a dwarf?
D&D.
A half elf? A half orc? A gnome? A halfling? What other ones are there?
All right. Bye, everybody.
Dragonborn!
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.